I regret to announce that Kenny Dalglish told the board yesterday of his wish to retire as team manager. Ever since then, the board have made strenuous attempts to make him change his mind.
Well, obviously I've been involved in football since I've been 17, and for 20 years really I've been with the two most successful clubs in Britain, and I've been in the front line and for 20 years, and it's just really a result of 20 years active involvement in football at a very high and successful level that really kind of leads the person has pushed himself to the limit. It's something that's taken me a long time to come to.
When did you start thinking about it, Ken?
So I'm going to keep talking, I just went up. But the most important thing and the worst decision I could have come to was not to have made a decision.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark.
I got a phone call completely out the blue from Peter Robinson saying him and the chairman would like to come and have a word. I said, yeah, no problem. So he came, they asked if I'd like to become manager. I asked them why. But they never told me why, really. But that was it, that was my exit out the dressing room to being in isolation at the bottom of the corridor in the manager's office.
I'm afraid the news is very bad from Brussels. Hooliganism has struck again, and I'm afraid the scenes are as bad as anything we've seen for a long, long time.
Generally speaking, whether we get beat in a football match, I'll have a quip or I'll laugh a bit, but I'm not laughing tonight.
Thousands of Liverpool soccer fans are in Brussels for tonight's European Cup final against Juventus. It'll be the last for Liverpool's manager, Joe Fagan, who's announced that he's retiring, whether his team win or lose.
I think it'll lift the team tonight. More than anything, they'll want to go out there tonight and really win it for Joe Fagan.
I was delighted by playing. I was a footballer, I wanted to be a footballer. Everybody knew Joe was retiring, he was only doing it for 2 years. Between them asking me to do it and becoming the manager, they had exactly the same thought all the way through. to win the game.
How you doing, mate? You okay?
Big job,
How you doing? You all right? Good to see you.
It seems that the manager's resignation has increased the fans' determination to beat Juventus. It could have a more unsettling effect on the players. But there's nothing that the entire Liverpool contingent would like more than to reward Joe Fagan's decades of service with the European Cup.
Everyone was saying when we picked up our tickets, you know, we haven't got the whole end. There's going to be so-called neutral fans from Brussels in one section. Brussels had a massive Italian community. We knew those tickets would go on the black market. We could foresee problems.
There was supposed to be, right, neutrals in that little bit here. And then there was a chicken wire fence, and then the Liverpool fans.
10 to 6, we go and have a look at the pitch. We picked up it was like a half brick. Who brings a half brick with them into the stadium? In actual fact, it was a stadium that was crumbling.
And so you sort of went, this ain't great.
A group of Liverpool fans decided that they were going to charge across the terrace into the corner. It caused a wave of crush, and the wall collapsed.
This is Clive Tilsley in the Heysel Stadium in Brussels, where Europe's premier football match of the season has now been completely overshadowed by scenes of violence the likes of which I've never seen in a football ground before.
We were right beside where it was all happening. We saw the wall come down and one of the girls went outside and off. It was horrendous.
Well, for the last 50 minutes, the Heysel Stadium in Brussels, the capital of Belgium, has been a sickening and bewildering sight.
There was rumours in the dressing room, but then the rumours were changing every 5 minutes.
And how long were you in there before you even went back out?
Must have been over an hour. Really, the game was an insignificance. But it just said, suppose that was they thought that was the best way to see it through, was to have the game.
What that must have been like for young men to actually have a consciousness and an understanding of what the hell was going on around them, and to react in such a way that they could just play a normal game of football like ever before.
And the Liverpool team appear, and all credit to them.
I walked out to the field and I looked left. You could see the carnage, and there were still ambulances there. We played.
That was the decision that was taken. And we know that they were playing in a daze.
Subconsciously, you know that there's something happened, isn't there? You're not oblivious to what's going on round about, although you don't know the facts.
Between two, Trent Posse, yes, the penalty is going to be good.
They got a penalty awarded, which Platini put away.
And Liverpool's run of success in European Cup finals comes to an end. But this is not a night when football will be remembered. The official figures of the tragedy which occurred before a ball was kicked: 36 people killed, more than 200 injured, and 15 of them seriously.
How would any of us respond to a situation like that? This is a football match. It's a joyous occasion. It's the biggest game of the season, and people are dying around me.
We were up till late and just talking about how could it happen.
The next day I went to the shops and actually I was embarrassed. I felt really ashamed. It was a horrible time.
The majority of fans didn't behave reprehensibly. The majority of fans condemned those who did. And Liverpool fans didn't have a history of that kind of violence. And it besmirched the club's name. It reduced the club incredibly in the public eye. It had massive consequences. And quite rightly, Liverpool was banned from European tournaments.
We came back to Liverpool, Joe Fagan was crying, and everybody was crying. I mean, it was like horrible. It was a horrible, horrible time.
Do you think the game should have been played?
It wasn't for me to make the opinion, was it?
A lot of
You were asked to
people,
play and we played.
a lot of people, though, thought it was a bad decision. In
But
your
we
mind.
didn't realise what had happened before the game.
You'd no idea that people had been killed?
No. It's a shame, really, that something like that. The biggest club game in the world, and it's ending disaster for so many people. If it was difficult for me to deal with, it would be much more difficult for the people who suffered a loss. You just got to deal with the hand you're dealt. Your parents are the ultimate. They shape the life. They mould you into what you become later on in your life. I really enjoyed growing up. Everyone was in the same boat and everybody got outplayed. A lot of young families there and a lot of friends. So I think it was always better to do somebody a good turn than a bad turn. My sister Carla and I were brought up with very good family values.
I'm not supposed to run out and throw my arms wide and...
How are we?
Hiya. How are you?
Good, no problems?
Yeah. The old house there, I can't believe it's how long it's been. Oh, it's just so familiar.
But there's an awful lot of memories around about here,
Oh,
and
I
they'll come
know.
back when you come back. I thought it was all right.
No, you weren't. Not when you were young. Really young,
it was okay.
up to you were about 5.
My mum stayed at home and ran the house. My dad went to work. He was a diesel engine fitter. I think my dad first introduced me to a ball before I could walk. He used to hold me and let me have a kick at a ball.
He liked you to sit up straight at the table and not leave the table till you'd finished your meal. A lot of the time it was only speak if you're spoken to type of thing if we were an adult company.
And a yes and a thank you.
Yeah. So
please.
It's great though. It's really good to be back.
From a very young age, I wanted to be a footballer. Just loved the football. One of the boys' dads made goals for us and somewhere to get nets from. It was a great time, really. Most of your spare time was spent playing football. There's so much changing, it's so different, and everything's, man, yeah, it's 50 years.
It is 50 years. I was thinking that coming over. Dad was the orange man, wasn't he? He was the man that brought the half-time oranges. Mum did the strips.
Everybody chipped in.
Up at Springburn, before the bus went away, we got our picture taken in front of the bus.
Oh, don't I need to bend down it, that was smaller then. People were brought up to support either Rangers or Celtic, and if you sat in the fence, you were a Partick Thistle fan. So my dad was a Rangers fan. It comes back to you, but when you come here, you get one or two things coming back.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very great sorrow for me to have to tell you that at this stage there are 66 persons have lost their lives as a result of the accident which took place on the terracing exit.
I was at the game. We used to always go to the same crush barrier. My dad's mates with his work, they all used to meet up and we all used to stand there and watch a match.
It looked like ending in a draw until 1 minute before the end. Rangers equalised, and when the crowd roared with excitement, some of those who were halfway down the steps tried to get back into the ground with tragic results.
From the stunned city of Glasgow, pictures of the aftermath of Britain's worst ever soccer disaster.
There, but for the grace of God, go I. We had to move out of here My mum and dad thought we should get out and get our own independence and at least have a room to ourselves. So they put in for a move and they moved to Ibrox. My mum drew a house overlooking the training ground that Rangers used, so I could look out the window and watch Rangers training.
Sean Fallon went to his house, and he's the type of person when he spoke to you, he believed him and trusted him.
Sean was the assistant manager at Celtic and asked if I'd like to come and join them for training. He was on his way down to the Ayrshire coast to celebrate his anniversary with his wife and a couple of kids in the car. And he left them in the car for about an hour.
Kenny had a photo of John Gregg, the Rangers captain.
Which my mum wanted to take down, and my dad told her to leave it alone.
So he was a Rangers fan, but what Celtic were offering him was opportunity.
At that time, Celtic would have been the best place for any of the kids to go and try and educate themselves to be a footballer. And I was fortunate to be given the opportunity. There was no way we were ever going to turn down Celtic. It was a no-brainer, really. To make your debut at Celtic Park was massive. Big Jock came into the boot room and he said, "You're not playing for the reserves tomorrow. You'll be playing for the first team." And I went, "Oh, that's all right." We turned up the next day and Bobby Murdoch sat next to me and he says, "Are you nervous?" I says, "Just a wee bit." "No, but not really." I went, "Well, you're putting your right boot on your left foot." I said, "Look, maybe I'm nervous."
This has not changed one single bit. Every single thing is just the exact same house, Susan.
And then we're at the Beechwood.
Oh yeah, the Beechwood, yes.
I was learning the pub trade. I learned in a restaurant called the Beechwood. And all the Celtic players used to get in there.
Gosh, it's completely different, isn't it? My dad had the pub and I was working during the school holidays. Alex, I think he wanted to open a pub of his own and he came in and he got some tips on the bar trade.
How you doing? Kenny.
Hi,
Adam,
hello, hi.
Adam.
I used to work here when I was still at school as a Saturday job. Sometimes Friday night after school if there was a wedding, and then I'd work Saturday night just for pocket money. How did you get on with my dad?
I knew your dad before I knew you.
Did you? I knew Fergie before I knew you, so fair enough, right? So what?
Your dad didn't recommend you?
No.
No.
You were recommended by Jockstein. You were all right.
Oh, was I?
I think this has been extended. There was a bar there.
This was where everybody sat.
He was just one of the young boys that came in. Never really noticed him at first. The thing that made him stand out was he used to blush all the time. He waited till my parents went on holiday before he would ask me out because he was a bit scared of my dad.
She said, "You give me a phone." I said, "I've not got your number."
And I said, "Well, my number's in the phone book."
Playing hard to get.
And he rang me and that was it. Do you know what you wore?
Yeah.
What?
A wee white short raincoat. I was going to her house to pick her up.
What did I wear when you picked me up? Can you remember?
Blouse. Dress.
Did I?
Dress,
I don't know, I can't remember, did I? When I was in that flat over there, watching Kenny come down the street.
What?
But no, I was on the phone to my friend. And I said, I wonder what car he's got.
I don't know what she was expecting me to pick her up in, because I came off the bus.
We went to the cinema.
And then very romantically had fish and chips in the close in the tenement. When we came out, it was raining.
So you tried to impress.
So I suppose that was our first outing as a couple. There we go. Eh? Ah, there was it.
I'm going to ring the girls.
Why? Celtic, an unbelievable place. Won 5 trophies in '67, including the European Cup. You don't get a rehearsal. You got to earn the right to belong somewhere. was thinking about moving. I was captain. They were asking me to sign a contract, and I says, no, I don't want to sign a contract. I would like to go at the end of the season if I could.
He's always been single-minded. If he puts his mind to something, he'll do it.
If you've asked for a move, you know you've got to go. So your mind's set up to go. Big joke, shook my hand, gave her a cuddle and says, all the best, you little bastard.
Liverpool signed Kenny Dalglish for 440,000. He's a brilliant player.
Dalglish.
But is he as good as Keegan? We knew he was leaving, going to Hamburg, and we couldn't believe it. Just won the European Cup. Why would he want to leave?
The public, of course, are already talking about you replacing Kevin Keegan. Is that how you see it?
Kevin Keegan's been here. He's done a great job for Liverpool, and Liverpool have been very good to Kevin Keegan.
Kevin Keegan was a great player for Liverpool, but I think Kenny Dalglish by far was the better player.
This club will be here long after Kevin Keegan and myself have won.
Liverpool, after having won the European Cup, they must be the #1 club in Europe.
Liverpool's reputation was spreading around Europe. There was a feeling of invincibility.
I wasn't going to be Kevin. I was going to be myself. And if that was going to be good enough, then it would be a happy story for everybody.
Dalglish. Oh, that's nice! That's lovely!
He hit the ground running. Straight away, you could tell this fella is something special.
He's got a second chance because Harris's clearance was a bad one, and he's curled it in!
The minute he started playing, I was mesmerised.
Kenny Dalglish, much too good a player to be given a second chance.
We thought, we've had it good up to now. This is going to be great.
Dalglish, the shot, and it's going in!
If I was a manager, he'd be the first name on the team sheet week after week.
He had grace, he had skill, and he had football intelligence. You saw a player that had all the time in the world. You knew there was something special there.
He had 3 defenders around him. He went one way, he went the other, and then he went between them. And as he came from going the other way, I'm sure his shoulder was almost on the ground. He was like a dancer.
Kenny Dalglish was born with a great gift. And that's something, I suppose, if you ask him to describe how he scored a goal or explain how he did something, he'll find it almost impossible. I do, and I know Kenny would as well. His brain, you can see he's 3-4 moves ahead of everyone else. And at times I've watched him play, and I've got frustrated for him because I know he's thinking ahead of other people.
Certainly the idea is to take the battle even more now to Bruges.
It was a game that was going nowhere.
Still no goals.
And then this moment came.
And here's Dalglish.
Souness had the ball, and he divided the defence. Kenny runs onto it, and then... we'd won the European Cup.
To score the goal was a dream come true. If you scored the goal, you got a mini. I've come in after the game and Marina went, oh, when will the mini arrive? I went, what do you mean? She said, well, you get a mini for scoring the winning goal. I went, Marina, it's gone for a night out for the boys. There'll be no mini. I always wanted to go in an open-top bus showing off the trophy. There was a restriction in Glasgow that neither Celtic or Rangers could do a bus tour. That was an unbelievable number of people that turned out. Also, there was a significant number of blue and white scarves there as well. Just a reflection in the people in the city.
The fans, the atmosphere was just the best.
It was unbelievable. But you're usually that pissed you can't remember.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth. Where there is doubt, may we bring faith.
I always thought that Liverpool was like a pain in the arse to the establishment. They had no time for Liverpool whatsoever. For more than a generation, Liverpool had been like the hub. Everything that came into the country more or less came in to Liverpool. The country owed quite a lot to Liverpool, but when they decided they didn't have much more to contribute, particularly under Heath and Thatcher, we'll give it the elbow.
It was struggling in terms of poverty, it was struggling in terms of institutionalised racism, and it was struggling in terms of the marginalisation of its working class.
In the present context, it may serve too as a useful reminder of the need to be careful not to overcommit scarce resources to Liverpool. I cannot help feeling that the option of managed decline is one which we should not forget altogether. We must not expend all our resources in trying to make water flow uphill. That's appalling. That is appalling.
These were bad times and serious times.
You know when you're pushed against the wall and there's nowhere else you can go? The only way you can go anywhere is forward.
The one thing that gave people some hope was the football.
I'll never forget, walking the 3 miles up to the ground and the feeling, the buzz as you were getting closer.
It just gave everybody in that city something to believe in.
You get heartbreak, you share a heartbreak. When they thought we were a little bit down, they could lift us. And when you score a goal, well, you're sharing it.
What else have you got to look for? And all you got is the football.
We feel as happy as they do.
Oh, I know what's gone on all week, and I know we've had a bad time, and I know conditions are not right, but never mind. We've got Saturday to look forward to.
If you economically marginalise communities, they won't go away with their tail between their legs. They will fight back.
7 minutes to 3. Without a shadow of a doubt, somebody would shout, "Stick together."
Dalglish, it might break for him, it does! It's gone Dalglish and he turns and scores!
I signed for Liverpool as a teenager, I think it was 300,000, but I was really panicking. So first thing I walk in the dressing room, I got changed next to Ray Clements, Alan Hansen, and I didn't say a word and everything. And I always remember you, the famous one, was saying, you got changed in the dark, did you? And I just everyone was like taking the mickey and all that, and I didn't know how to take it, to tell you the truth. I was really panicking, like.
Rossi, you normally put them in. I missed it altogether.
A huge part of the success of the club was the atmosphere in the dressing room. And if somebody walks into the dressing room, the best way to make them feel part of it, maybe not to rip them to bits and
you did.
beat them down. I know, but we were spoiled for that. Yeah. We had loads of ammunition, didn't we?
What's he like off the pitch? In five-a-side, do you mean? Or away from the pitch? Oh, I don't know, he doesn't talk. Nobody knows.
I must say I like your cat. Are you fond of animals?
Yes, my favourite is a seal. And I also like whales.
Well, where do you keep them?
Well, now I spend most of my time round the pool. There are lots of big fish there.
If you're winding them up, or you're having a laugh at their expense, it's almost like you're welcoming them.
The first impression, no, I didn't like Kenny. I was very shy, and all I remember about Kenny, he just took the mick out of me.
Yeah, I got a wee bit on top of him, I think, at the very beginning. So in trying to be helpful, although it might sound cruel, the help that you were giving him, they almost lost him. Almost lost him. What a tragedy that would have been.
But after about 6 or 7 months, you realise, you know, everyone's in it together. That's what the true Liverpool spirit was, wasn't it? You know, I think it was, as you say, it wasn't just the games, going in every day, knowing about what's going on about the club and everything. As Ken was getting older, he said, now you can help me with the running and all that, and that's what you do. And he said, your job is just to score goals. Leave the rest to me. When I get the ball, you just run into that space.
Dalglish, Rush.
He didn't even look, he just put the ball in that space.
And there you see just why Ian Rush is feared so much.
That's how good Kenny was. And I thought, I can get to like this.
Dalglish.
Because I was quick.
Look at that, rushes through.
I had like 2 yards on the defenders.
He's at the post. He might score now, he has.
It was his football brain. He could see things way before anyone else.
Neil's clearance to Dalglish, beautiful turn. Oh, and on for Rush, what a perfect through ball.
Really easy for me because I managed to get on his wavelength.
Ian Rush celebrates the goal, but Kenny Dalglish, the creator supreme.
What he was best at is turning defenders.
Splendid turn, Clements in the way again, but Rush and still Clements.
And then once you turn defenders, he's either in himself or he puts someone else in.
Straight on, by Dalglish to Rush. And it's in at last.
He wasn't one for self-glory. He was a reflection of what Liverpool was all about. Ronnie Whelan came in at the same time as you. And he used to take the piss out of you as well.
Kenny, for me, is the best Liverpool player they've had in the history. He's a king, without doubt.
This afternoon, Liverpool appointed a new player-manager to replace Joe Fagan, who announced his retirement before yesterday's match. He's Kenny Dalglish, one of Liverpool's most capped international players.
Shanks built the place for everybody. All Bob carried it on, Joe Fagan was next, and then I'm thrown into that.
He came to my room, he said, I'm needing a bit of advice. He says, what about management? What do you think? I says, do you fancy? He says, yeah, well, there could be something in the offing. And then a few weeks later, the manager of Liverpool. When I saw that, I says, you bugger, you've had me.
We'd gone out for some to eat with the girls, and he just turned around and he said, I've got news for you. They've asked me to become manager of Liverpool, and I've accepted. So I said, yeah, you're kidding. He said, no. I said, well, he said, no, Joe's gone. He says, and I'm going to be playing manager.
I mean, I had 3 years left from their contract, the 4 years left. I just signed a 4-year contract. So I'm thinking, gee, well, I'm not taking a chance here, because if I'm rubbish the first year, just take the managerial role off me and I'll carry on in my playing contract.
I never really heard about player managers, and then when we heard that Kenny Dalglish was going to manage Liverpool, and Liverpool were obviously, you know, the best team in Europe, how did the team respond to that?
So you have to call him boss. He's your boss, so you got to call him boss.
That means I can't talk to you now. And he said, nothing's going to change. I said, nothing's going to change? I said, you've got to be kidding, haven't you?
Or he knew that in the dressing room I would never ever tell him anything that was going on.
Yeah.
And he didn't want that.
Yeah.
But if there was any problems, I could go to him and say, look, there's a bit of problem and whatever. And it worked absolutely perfectly. I remember coming back to the house with Gianni and saying, that's it. I mean, this friendship's gone. Yeah. And it'll never ever come back. But, you know, he came in and he still has that, and he was still playing. And you know what he was like when he got older. You got grumpier. You know, when you used to play it into his feet,
you bounced it in.
You could play it 5 yards either side, and then when he got older, you had to be spot on.
Not even 1 yard either side.
And he'd like
Phil Neal was captain. I swapped that and put Alan in as captain. Not because he was a better player, not because he was a pal of mine, because I thought a captain has to be fortunate, has to be lucky, as well as good, and to have the respect of the dressing room. And I think he had all three.
Pre-season friendly at Brighton, I'm sitting beside him and he goes, right, you take the ball. And I went, what are you talking about? He said, you take the piss. You're the captain. Never changed a thing, did you? really. I mean,
The Monday morning when we used to.
we had tea and biscuits. It was his idea, and he even went and bought the biscuits. Borrowed the money, of course, but great idea.
Well, I thought it was going to be difficult. It was going to be a huge change. But if they had the belief in me, then the least I can do was try and find out if I had the belief in myself.
Who are the players you like?
Kenny Dalglish.
We play Everton, and we get beaten 2-0. And we go out for dinner at night, and I say to him, this is the worst Liverpool side I've ever played in.
Can it be 2 for Everton?
By far. And he turned around to me and said, well, he said, yeah, he said, maybe the players aren't as good, he says, but if we could just get something going, you know, we could still do something. And I've gone, you been drinking?
And Dalglish gets away with Rush going on the left. On the right, he's got Craig Johnson. This is Rush. Yes! And now Johnston. And he fires it across McMahon. He's got his second. Gillespie getting up underneath this one, and his header finds the back of the net.
So you think Liverpool are going to win?
Yeah. Well, who's going to beat them? That was Hansen heading down, Thomas miscued, and Rush played it back, and Whelan fired it, and it came to Mulvey, and that's the equaliser.
We just got a bit of momentum and kept going and going and going. It was like a journey that we were on.
And Whelan coming forward. There it is. Number 2. Rush is in there. Oh, and it fell to McMahon.
We won 12 and drew the other one in the last 13 matches, and then we won the double.
And Dalglish is in here. Yes! The player-manager scores the goal.
They win the double, the finest team that was ever seen on any green turf.
And Dalglish, and Rush is on the far side. Is this 3? It is!
We went crazy when we came off that pitch.
And Liverpool Football Club have become only the 3rd team this century to win the marvellous double in the same season.
From somewhere, he galvanised the players from really nowhere. It's one of his greatest achievements. Probably the greatest.
Here, have a wee sip to see what that is you're drinking, Lynch. Good girl. Oh, yes. This is what the cameraman likes to see.
Dad, just video.
He promised me that when he finished playing, he had no intentions of doing anything in football.
Hello.
He didn't know what he was going to do, and then he was offered a manager job at Liverpool.
Lindsay, that's yours over beside the rocking horse. That's all your prezzies. Go and see if there's any babies over there.
This is the best Christmas ever.
And he'd said to me, when I finished playing, that'd be me.
Yes.
And he said, what will I do? And he's offered us. You can't turn the manager of Liverpool job down.
Should I move these so that we can put the...
Thank you. Come on, Ali. This is Midnight Runners.
Coming straight out of playing into management, it was difficult for me because I loved the dressing room, I loved the banter, I loved the carry on.
We tried it.
Spicy. I think it was easier going when he was a player because you're part of a team, whereas a manager, everything rests on your shoulders. So I think it was different. It was more stressful as a manager than what it was as a player.
Well, he won't play anything. He's always in bed. Well, he plays football with Paul, but he's always in bed. Yeah, then he won't play my Skeletrix with me. That's not been out for a long time.
Lindsay, you like Daddy, don't you?
Oh, there you go.
Definitely when he was managing, you would notice a change in mood. It was very rarely to do with the result of the game. It was mostly to do with how the team had played, if they'd done what he'd asked them to do, if he felt that they'd given enough on the pitch. I remember coming back in the car once and he was in a really bad mood. And Mum was like, if that's what you're like when you've won, imagine what you're like when you lose. And he's like, yeah, but this went wrong and that went wrong. And it was harder to predict because it wasn't all about the result.
When he come home, he unwound when he come home with the children, because 4 kids, you come home and you really can't think of anything else when you've got 4 of you. But you could have your moments, couldn't you? You weren't always like
nice,
Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, we can't tell lies about you. You're not always Mr. Nice Guy, are you?
You're always a nice person yourself.
I am.
You try your best not to bring your work home, but I think in football it's a lot more difficult not to bring your work home because everybody else has brought it into your house.
Kenny, if you don't know him, can be a very awkward guy. But I mean, he's a very private person. I mean, he's only got time for his family and people that he really knows. I mean, he's a nightmare for the press. Ideally, he'd like to play the game of football and get into his car and go straight home and not have to talk to anybody afterwards.
Obviously, when you stand up in a press conference, there's a lot of people there. And there's people there that really you can't trust with the words that you're going to use or you'd like to use. And all you need is one slip of the tongue and you get the quotes you've made wrongly attributed to you because they twist them. The only reason I've come here is because they don't tell the truth anyway.
Yeah, what's right?
They don't tell the truth anyway.
People are a wee bit frightened of him. He growls at people and he makes people jump. And that with his knowledge and that the fact that he was such a great player. I mean, who can argue with him? You got to respect that.
Kenny thinks that weakness is a weakness, and he ain't for it. To describe him, you'd say strong character. In fact, very strong character. In fact, very, very, very strong character.
You were called ruthless, but in a nice way.
Well, I don't know about that.
Do you take that as a compliment or not?
No, I just say I know what I've got to do, and they realise what I've got to do. They realise the importance I place on them, and they realise the importance that the decision that I make is for the club's benefit. And that's the way it'll always be for me here.
Some of them were saying as well that maybe the public have got the wrong impression of you through the media, which isn't your fault, obviously, but, that you are a bit dour, but we all know. I mean, I've known you for years. I mean, you've got a cracking sense of humour.
Yeah, but when
you enjoy that, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to have a laugh, I think.
We'll just sit down.
Go in
the middle one.
I think he thinks maybe somebody's trying to trick him or trying to coerce him into a certain answer. I'm not sure why he's like that with the media.
I think a lot of his attitude and come out was tremendous, really. Laurel's playing out of position and he's as good a game as anybody on the pitch.
But yeah, he's not like that at all.
Come to the cemetery. Look at the people.
No, he's really, really funny.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's obviously ladies and gentlemen. Eh? What's he say? What's he say then? What?
I'd like to thank...
I'd like to thank...
I think obviously you understand that the press have got a role to play and they've got a job to do. But equally, I've got a job to do. I don't need to try and do their job for them. And I don't expect them to try and do my job. So I protected the players if they deserve to be protected.
It is working.
Let's see a new Jarvis, come on.
It is working.
No, you're right. You can make the bed now. I was sleeping.
I'll always be on my guard when I'm making statements about Liverpool Football Club. Not to protect myself, basically to protect the club.
So really, you're saying you're being cautious as opposed to dour?
I've got to concentrate. I find it hard to concentrate and speak at the same time. Speaking's a big problem for me, and I find the concentration a bit of a problem as well.
He's intelligent, although he pretends he's stupid. He could cut interviewers in two just with his one-liners.
I don't understand him. He said he's got trouble with me. Well, goes both ways.
He is a bit hard to understand, I would think, in team meetings and the like, isn't he? He's a bit hard to understand.
Be yourself, because when you wake up in the morning, you know what you've said the day before. And if you know yourself, I think you've got to have a very good memory to remember what you've said. And I never had a very good memory, so that was no use to me. That wasn't an option.
Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips, and I will spell. Because they don't just play, but they can rap as well.
Listen, there's a cup final, so of course we're going to do a song. And I don't know if I wasn't there that we were going to rap.
Well, it was a good laugh, dude.
Yeah, it was a laugh, wasn't it?
a laugh.
Can you remember your lines out?
Can't remember.
Can't remember your lines.
Can't remember your lines.
Well, my line was...
You two Scousers are always yapping. I'm gonna show you some serious rapping. I come from Jamaica. My name is John Bonnis. When I do my thing, the crowd go bananas.
Oh, my word. That's unbelievable, it really is. I think they should stick to playing football. Terrible. What do you think, Kenny?
Oh, yeah.
We're thinking, how can we replace Ian Rush?
Rushy was going, he was leaving. We went out into the market and bought probably as many new players in one season as what Liverpool had done for a long time. We'd made some changes and they paid off.
This is Venison. And here's Barnes. And Aldridge this time, 2-0.
I played for Watford, which is long ball. I never thought I'd be a Liverpool-type player. So obviously Liverpool sees things in players that the players don't even know themselves.
McMahon! Oh, Hussein! What a belter!
I expected some indoctrination when you first come to find the Liverpool way. And I remember you saying, well, there's an orange bib and there's a yellow bib, and just pass to someone an orange bib.
Barnes. Oh, lovely back heel. McMahon. Aldridge. Good challenge. Beardsley! Oh, that's a lovely goal. That's a lovely goal.
They did have rules on the pitch, but within those rules, you had tremendous freedom to play.
Oh, Byrne wanting a long time to clear that. He dwelt on it too long. Barnes. And Barnes again. 3.
People talk about time to settle in. And when you talk about time to settle in, is it 3 games into the season? Is it 10 games into the season? But I'm talking about the first week, the first 2 weeks in pre-season training before we'd even played a game. Just being with the lads, just playing football with the lads, the acceptance and, you know, the camaraderie.
John was an ideal player for us to go down the touchline. Talented, skillful, scored a goal, made a goal.
He's got Beardsley going to his left, but still Barnes. That's a fabulous individual goal.
When I picked up on that left-hand side, there's only one person I was looking for. It's just that one sliding into the left-hand side, because you know that he's going to keep it for you. You can go past people for fun, and it was a really, really exciting time.
Barnes took on Caesar. Still Barnes, brilliant. Harton couldn't convert. McMahon, 3 in the way.
They knitted so well together. The hunger and the desire to be successful was there for everybody to see.
McMahon won that back.
Barnes, Beardsley and Aldridge, you know, just seemed to gel.
Oh, a goal for Aldridge.
It was intuition, it was one-touch football.
Beardsley. Oh, brilliantly done by Peter Beardsley.
The quality was there for everybody to see. They never let go throughout the whole season.
Nottingham Forest were a good side at the time, one of the top 3 teams in the country.
Barnes, Houghton goes again, he's through. Ray Houghton.
You talk about a 90-minute performance of not just quality, but of players making the right decisions.
Find space and find Aldridge. And that is another superb Liverpool goal.
The performance the players put on was fantastic.
Working it to Houghton, Aldridge, Gillespie!
There was great determination that they wanted to play well for 90 minutes.
Barnes against Chettle. Look at Barnes here. They're waiting for the pullback. Beardsley! Oh, a glorious goal.
You played the game as if it was 0-0 when we're 5-0.
And Beardsley, and Speckman, and Aldridge. It's 5.
That's the finest exhibition I've seen the whole time I've played and watched the game. It was absolutely tremendous.
Coming from Shankly's favourite player, Sir Tom Finney, we all went back to the pub that night and we going, do you think you'll ever see a team performance as good as that?
Everybody kept asking about the secret. I'll tell you what I think the secret is. Everybody that's got a job to do does it well.
Oh, Pedro.
What are you eating? Having your lunch?
Eat with your mouth closed.
Smile, you're on candid camera.
Say hello.
Hello.
Congratulations.
What
Cheers,
for?
Valley Blue.
He's not pregnant. He just pooped. He's not pregnant. That's just the way it's sitting. So we're coming to see you soon. Have you locked your doors and changed your locks? And yeah.
They're coming straight from my house.
Oh, we might have to go because the food's going to be here in 3 minutes.
Oh, good.
Bye.
Miss you.
They didn't let me in the picture. Bye.
Bye, Paul. Bye-bye. Bye.
I don't think he's ever let me win at anything. Even from a young age, I've always had to earn it. Take that. That's why maybe I am the way I am.
It's in the water. In life, you don't just get things given to you, do you?
No pressure. No.
You've got to earn it. So what's the point making it simple for him?
Oh, there we go. I expect to win. I need to win. There's no times that you can lose that don't feel bad. You know you're not allowed to do that after you've started?
I know that.
That's probably something that I got from him, from even playing a golf against him.
You must be in the bushes, Paul.
Nice to see him help me look for my ball. Playing in it, there's just that ruthlessness to always be successful.
And even more pleasing, I think you've lost it.
Where did it go? There was a company from Italy called Pantofladora, and they used to make these boots, but they were you got them custom ordered. They'd put like, which colour do you want this bit? Which colour do you want this bit? What type of leather do you want this bit? What sole? And they were beautiful, like amazing boots. And so when I was playing, they said, "Oh, we want to give you boots," and there was no money, but they'd give us boots. So I got these boots with a little bit of red on them. And I'm telling you, it was like a little bit, a little bit of red. And he said, "You must be some player, you. The red on your boots." He says, "Why don't you bring attention to yourself by the way you play, not by the way you look?" Remember that?
No.
One of my best friends growing up was a guy called Gavin Jones and his dad, Eddie Jones. My dad said, "Come on, Eddie, we'll take on the kids." Hi. Gav hits a shot. Go on. It might still be you. Gav's dad, Eddie. Well done, Paul. Well done, Gav. You are getting nothing. Oh. 3 or 4 holes in. Gav hits a putt. Maybe 6 or 7 footer, goes in. Eddie. Well done, son. Great putt. My dad. Eddie. What do you mean, well done? He said, "Well, 1 down." He said, what, do you want to win? He said, "No more well dones."
I don't think you can get through your life without being competitive.
There's not been a whole half, Paul. No.
You won 3, I've won 3.
That's you. You give me that?
Oh, yeah.
I got that?
I said you give you half.
I wasn't even trying it. I'll take that. Anything that he was involved in, he wanted to win. Grandkids have made him soft. I'll take it. He enjoyed nothing more than winning. It's weird how things have gone full circle. Yes, there you go, in there. Don't touch anything. And I wanted to shout to him, "Stay off the pitch. Don't touch anything in the office," because That was my childhood. I get to sit on this side now.
It's not changed a bit. Mind you, it was only last week that picture was taken.
Don't even think I get a mention. Do I get a mention in this one?
I don't know. You should be able to get through that book. It's all pictures.
There's another one. How many have you made? You struggling for cash? Is that you as well?
Yeah.
When he was a young manager at my age, I would go with him to training and maybe boot a ball off the wall, and I'm watching him booting balls. For me to have my dad here, there's a comfort that comes with it, and maybe one day he'll say something nice, I don't know.
I was lucky. I started at one of the most successful clubs in the world, and I had great people working there. Paul said to start a bit lower than that. It's not been easy for him. A lot of people have a problem with him because of his name. He was a brave boy to go down that road and try and make a career out of it. I was pretty nervous at the game.
It doesn't matter how old you get or how much success you have, you always want the approval of your dad. He's given his heart and soul to Liverpool. His loyalty to the club is unquestioned. Whatever he means to Liverpool isn't close to what Liverpool means to him. Couldn't believe it when I got this job and Bruce Grablar's the goalkeeper coach. He was a teammate of my dad's. He was a hero of mine. And he played for my dad.
I've got 96 on my back. I've got 96 on my training shoes. It's in all of us that were a part of Hillsborough tragedy.
Hillsborough, it's not something we ever discuss. I count myself lucky that we all came home. Almost feel guilty about talking about it because we were the lucky ones.
96 will always be in all our lives. Wherever you go in football, everybody knows about 96.
It's something that probably never really dealt with. I've never spoken to my dad about it.
Hillsborough was a famous ground. It had been used many times in the past for semi-finals. We played Notts Forest there and we had a good result there, so we were looking forward to the game. That was just a normal Friday. We trained in the morning, had our lunch. We just pottered over to prepare for the game the next day. Got there in time for our dinner at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Normal preparation, really. Same as we do for most away games, if not all of them. I just know that there was a lot of people that went to that game that never came home. don't want to go back. I don't want those memories to come back to the forefront of my mind. So people might say you're running away from it. Well, if I am, I am. But at the end of the day, it still won't get me back. Not me.
We saw the crowd start to move to the side, and we saw that people were coming over the fence. We started to see that happening. And I vividly remember Mum turning, because the press box was right next to us, and I remember her saying, "My God, this isn't trouble. This is something really terrible."
I saw Bruce start getting agitated in the goal, and then there was people coming over the barriers, and we're kind of in seats, but we're watching what's going on, and it was watching it all unfold. Was you didn't really understand the magnitude of it.
On the pitch here in the 6-yard area. The referee's going to have to stop the game. There's an overflow behind the goal.
I turned around. I ran toward the referee and I saw the policeman coming across the field. And that's when they called the game off.
There's people helping. Other people who, unfortunately, had been injured or even worse than that. At ground level, we couldn't see much because of the number of bodies that were on the pitch.
I have no way of knowing how many casualties we have here, but they are considerable. There are ambulances on the arena. First aid treatment is being applied to people on the ground as I speak.
The fans were tremendously helpful. I think they were first to react.
Advertising hoardings are being used as emergency stretchers, and there are clearly a number of fans seriously injured.
It was people were on the pitch doing their level best to try and help someone who was in need of help. We hadn't much of an idea how bad it actually was.
Possibly the biggest tragedy ever seen on an English football ground. There is terrible emotional scenes going on because people are checking to see if their nearest and dearest are in fact safe.
We lost Paul. Paul always went with his friends. At that minute, all I worried about was my son.
Paul had to enter through the Leppings Lane end to walk round to go to the main stand. Your concern obviously was for him to start with, to see if he was all right.
I would think, although he was getting pulled by everyone to say and do things, his number one would be looking for Paul.
They asked us to go and say a few words over the tannoy to the supporters.
I remember then hearing my dad's voice coming over the speaker system, and it was almost like I only wanted my dad then. And then he was there, like just there.
I remember the fans going to get the newspaper and ripping it off the newspaper stands and burning it. Then I got a phone call from Kelvin Mackenzie. And he said, "We've made a mess of this." I said, "I think so." He says, "Can we do anything to help?" I said, "Well, I don't know if it will help, but I would suggest you start with putting the headline, the truth, and just put it in tomorrow's paper saying we lied." He says, "I can't do that." I said, "I can't help you." I dread to think what it would have been like in the homes of some of the people who lost someone. You speak about the family values. You speak about helping people when less fortunate than yourself, or helping people when they need a bit of help. That's all we did. We only did what somebody else would have done for us. And what they were football fans, they went to support the football club. Now it was football club's turn to support their families.
What he and Marina must have gone through, of going to so many funerals, the pain of what he'd witnessed, what he'd been through in the light also of Heysel, to now be the primary spokesperson for a club. All the weight fell on him.
Going to the funerals and hearing these stories about these people whose lives had ended, these kids who'd lost parents, parents who'd lost children, he never dealt with absorbing any of that information because he felt that his need was so much lower down than everyone else's.
On the Monday we went back to Sheffield, we went to the hospital, see how people are, and maybe even, hopefully, it helped them a little bit, the people that we could help.
There was a woman, a 14-year-old son, was on a life support machine. They wanted to turn it off, but she wanted us to get there to say goodbye to him. Oh, well, is there anything in life that prepares you for that?
When something happens and it's something that you're involved in, it's fantastic the way people get together. And as we said before, the city of Liverpool can be totally proud of it, what they did in the aftermath of Hillsborough as well.
It is a great tribute to the whole of this city, to its commitment to the great sport of football, but most of all, of love amongst good friends.
So I've decided to open up Anfield to the fans, which was an unbelievable idea and hugely appreciated by the fans. It gave them a focal point.
They'd nowhere to go. So they came to Liverpool because they'd nowhere else to go.
I remember the first day I went in there was a guy come up to me and he said, Al, he was 17. He was 17 and he was taken away from me. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know, I've got a son that was 8 at the time, and you just imagine that your son's 17 and what life would be like.
I went to the Cop, Kelly and Paul, I think on the last day that before everything was moved away. That's the only time I've been in the Cop.
We wanted to go in. It felt like the right thing to do. It felt like it, for no real reason that's easy to explain, we wanted to go in.
It was unbelievable, the messages of support on the Cop, like just little messages for somebody. And it was almost like, I know it was a standing area, it was almost as if it was, well, that's your space. Right, without a number, without any recognition on it, other than just the normal thing, he's here week in, week out, he always stands there. The boy next to him played football, he left a pair of boots, so they had an orange, he always had an orange at half time, he left an orange. It was unbelievable. The messages for punters to the people who stood round about in and around him.
The minute I walked on the Cop and I saw the tribute on the pitch, and I wanted to take, like I had a little Celtic teddy bear and a Liverpool teddy bear, and I wanted to leave it at Anfield, and I'd had it from when I was younger.
I think taking us onto the Cop and seeing the scarves tied there and seeing messages written on the barriers to people who were no longer there and would never stand there again, from their friends and from their families, I think it sunk in for Dad as well. And I think it became, you know, more even than standing on the Cop and looking out over that carpet of flowers, it was the small details of it. It was seeing people's names and realising that this was about individuals.
I went to where I stood on the Cop with my dad and my sister, and just looking, and just broke down and cried in my dad's arms. It was a moment maybe that I needed to kind of release everything I'd seen, because I didn't know how to deal with it as a child.
No, they wanted to go. I wanted to take them. So it was, for them it was really sad, for us it was sad, but it's just something that it had to be done. The people who were going to decide if we were going back to play, first and foremost, with the families. You could really sense the desire of the players to go and get a result.
Okay. Okay.
There was a lot going on that no one knew about, and he wouldn't tell anyone. But he was falling apart after Hillsborough.
By the time he gets to Everton in the Cup, and I knew there was something building up.
It was terrible to live with, really horrible. And for the children, he was snappy, so I would manage to keep them out the way.
When you do tear off.
He wasn't sleeping, he was taking sleeping pills, he couldn't get to sleep at night, he had a rash all over his body. And he doesn't tell people this, he waits until it all, comes to a head.
I was going to make a change during the game, defensively. And Ronnie and Roy went, "Oh, I'm not so sure." I went, "Oh, okay.
And when he realised he couldn't make a decision, he didn't feel like he was the manager Liverpool deserved.
Well, I can't believe this, Mark. When all Kenny Dalglish would have wanted was his team to defend properly, to go and commit something like this. It's been quite magnificent. It's been a night to shake the soul, really.
If I can't make decisions, I don't deserve to be here. And I said to myself that they've got to go.
Well, I regret to announce that Kenny Dalglish told the board yesterday of his wish to retire as team manager.
I don't think it ever got easier for Kenny. I think it got worse. He would never, ever admit that Hillsborough had anything to do with anything, because that's where he is.
Only Kenny can tell us what that journey was really like. What I do know is that the stress and strain of that must have been at times intolerable. In the aftermath of Hillsborough, it has taken the families 2 decades to set the record straight. Marina and Kenny Dalglish were real humanitarians in the face of dreadful adversity. People turning up literally on their doorstep. And that's why they are so respected in our city. They know what they sacrificed and what they gave.
Today we take the unprecedented step of granting the freedom of the city posthumously to 96 individuals.
Sisters Sarah Louise Hicks and Victoria Jane Hicks.
Kenny had been a part of our lives before I actually met him on that day back in April 1989.
Kenneth Matheson Dalglish.
Kenny has been part of my journey from the beginning of losing both my daughters.
Marina Dalglish.
Sarah had had Kenny Dalglish albums every Christmas for years when she was little.
He's the king of Anfield, really. But I don't look at him like that. I just look at him as a dear man. We've adopted Kenny now, you know, he's not going back to Glasgow, we won't let him.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end
of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver sound of love. Walk on through the wind
Show us what you do on the slopes, Dad.
Someone said to me when I was really little, what does your dad do? And I was like, oh, you know, I said, I don't really know. I mean, he stands in a little box on a Saturday and he points and shouts, which, to be fair, is a fair assessment.
Two fingers, Dad.
Right, speak into the camera.
Hello.
Right, say hello, Father Christmas.
Hello, Father Christmas.
Are you happy with your presents, troops?
Yeah.
What's your favourite one, Linz?
Baby game.
Look at that.
Say we're going to the nightclub, Mum, and then say goodbye.
Good night. Good night. You can't see anymore.